Now, as far as the group dynamics go, Taj and LeLee were always closer than Coko, and Coko was always out for herself. You feel me? Coko was the oldest, and she's a Gemini. She's, you know what I mean, all over the place, everywhere. You feel me? Always going, different ideas, communicating with different people, not necessarily focused on exact other group at all times. You feel me? Not necessarily focused on what they're focused on. And with LeLee being, you know what I mean, ruled by the moon, and Taj being ruled by Venus, this is going to give them more of a lighter, more of a loving disposition, more of wanting to relate, more of wanting to connect. You see what I'm saying? Versus Coko, who has that Mercury. She wants to communicate. She wants to move around. She wants to touch a bunch of different people. So you saw that in the group that Taj and LeLee naturally became closer, and then Coko was comfortable, you know, going about her day, doing her own thing. I mean, moving with the crew that she moved with, because they said she had her own separate entourage and all of that. She participated in that, so she was comfortable with doing that. Whereas Taj and LeLee more so took to each other, because remember I told you LeLee needed more of that emotional support. She needed that family unit. She needed that connection with someone. And with Taj being that Earth, being that fixed, being that Venus, always having that same disposition, always knowing how she's going to show up, always being consistent, always knowing she's going to be there, she could provide that for LeLee. She could provide that stability that LeLee needs when her emotional, yeah, I mean, her emotions are up and down, and she's going through that emotional turmoil and the ups and downs with the moon and all of that. Taj can provide that stability for her, and she knows that she'll always be there and that she can come for her, and she was like stable. You see what I'm saying? Where LeLee is more so up and down and have all the emotion and things like that. And Taj can also feed her that Venus. She can be, you know what I mean, loving. She can be supportive. She can relate with her. You know what I mean? She can provide that support that she needs, and vice versa. LeLee can provide that emotional support, even though Taj may not openly express her feelings and things like that. Remember, Earth, they're still feminine. You know what I'm saying? Earth is still feminine, so they still have that natural need to relate and to receive and things like that. So LeLee also could provide that emotional support for her, that emotional fulfillment for her, where she was providing that stability for LeLee. LeLee could provide that emotional support for her. So that's kind of where they were able to exchange that energy, and it's always going to be a loving, pleasant, nurturing energy versus, you know, one that where they have to talk about everything. They probably just sit in the room and cry together, and you know what I mean, or just sit and lay in the room together, eat ice cream, watch a movie. You know what I mean, they don't necessarily have to talk. Whereas Coko needed more so of that talking aspect, that communication aspect, a whole lot of different things going on around her. These two more so needed that, you know, just sit at the house, kick back, chill, eat, you know what I mean, just more so, you know what I mean, just chill out, chilling. You feel me? These are the two homebodies for the most part, so they kind of on the same level with it. You know what I mean? Even though LeLee is more emotional and Taj is more, like I said, more stable, more worried about the security of things, they still both, you know what I mean, enjoy some of the same things. Still both have that homebody. Still both want to relate. Still both want to have that stability for their family. So they're kind of coming from the same place with it, so they were able to connect on that level, and that's why they were able to spend more time together, because simply because they had some of the same interests. Now Taurus will also go out and things like that, but like not all of the time. You see what I'm saying? Where Coko is moving all of the time. You see what I'm saying? That's gonna get tiresome to a Taj, to the Taurus. Like, bro, you doing too much. Sit down somewhere. You doing too much. We at the house today. Like, I ain't finna do that today. Like, bro, we just did that. Like, bro, I'm kicking it today. Like, bro, you wanna come kick? Now, all of the girls were musically inclined, because Todd, remember that Taurus has that Venus aspect, and Taurus also rules the throat, so that's where that's going to bring that singing, that vocal ability. Remember that water, that Cancer, that water, that's going to bring that depth, it's going to be that feeling, that's going to bring that emotion. So that's where her love comes from. For the music, it's going to be how it makes her feel. It's going to be how the music makes her feel, how it makes it move, that vibe. You know what I mean? Remember that water. That's what she's going to sink into the music. That's why you saw she said, like, she started with like piano and things like that. It wasn't necessarily just about singing. It's the music overall. It's the beat. It's the bounce. It's the groove. You see what I'm saying? And that's where her musical inspiration comes from. That's why she got into the music. Now Coko, she's the voice, remember? So with her being the voice and already having the voice, you know what I mean? So that's where her musical inclinations come from. And then that Mercury and that air, she's going to always be all over the place. She's going to be able to use it in different ways. She's going to want to, not just stay in one lane. She's going to want to move all over the place. She's going to want to use her voice in a multitude of different ways, you feel me? And this is just how she is as a singer. So that's why you saw her. She would do a remix and it'll be a cut. Then she would do a ballad and it would hit. And then she could go all over the place. It really wasn't one place. And that's that Mercury. They liked that, and that just kept her mind going, kept her interested, kept her involved. Now, one thing Coko even admitted herself was when she was younger, she was quick out the mouth. She would say whatever she wanted to say, and she didn't care what anybody else said. And she would just say she was harsh with her words, and she just learned over time that she didn't think before she spoke, and she would just say whatever, and she just needed to be kinder with her words. And I think that's something that every Gemini need to hear. So that's I was like, every Gemini need to hear that, bro, because she was just like, she just kept it 1,000, like, bro, I just was doing whatever. So you already know how she was giving it up. She was just quick out the mouth. She'll say whatever she want, do whatever she wants. She the oldest. All the attention on her. So you already know how she was giving it up. So that kind of created tension within the group. Now, all of these things weren't necessarily her fault because you have management and things like that. But with her being that first, being concerned with self, being concerned with her ideas and things like that, she wasn't necessarily concerning herself with what was best for the group and speaking up for the group and things like that. And that can become an issue when you're the leader of the group. You see what I'm saying? So that did start to become an issue because Taj and LeLee felt like she didn't speak up for them, and she was just making sure that she was getting her just due because she was doing all the singing. Because if you look at it from Coko perspective is, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing all the singing, I need to be paid this much. You know what I mean? I need to get this amount. If I'm doing all the work, we should not be making the same amount. Which is fair, you see what I'm saying? Which is fair. This is business, but like Taj and LeLee said, why couldn't you have spoken up for what was best for the group? Why couldn't you say they need to do more work? They need to have more singing parts. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Because you'll say what you will and won't do any other time. You already just said that you say how you feel. You were saying whatever. So you say whatever you want to say, but then when it comes time to speak up for us, you quiet. And that Taurus, well, listen. It's like, yeah, well, that's true. You can't say that ain't true. But it's like she had to get herself right first. You feel me? She was concerned with self. She was more concerned with her voice being heard and what she had going on. You feel me? She had to get a little bit older and get a little bit more mature, so she could really take in that group aspect. Even though she loved the group aspect, because she said when she went solo, it didn't feel right, and that's why she came back. She loved that aspect of it. She wasn't necessarily all the way completely in it like she should have been, especially when the business was concerned, and she wasn't using that air to communicate with her group as she should have been. She was more so communicating with other people, managers and stuff like that. She was using her air in other places, that mutability, moving around, talking to everybody but the people you need to be talking to, the people you need to be dealing with, the people right in front of you. Now, as far as how Taj dealt with it, this is the Taurus, this is the fixed energy, so she was kind of stubborn, you feel me? So when Coko got to have her doing what she wanted to do and getting a higher percentage and things like that, doing superstar shit, so to speak, you feel me? Taj more so, instead of addressing it head on, or instead of, making an issue out of it, Taj just kept getting up and doing the work. She just did what she did every day. She just came to work regardless of what was going on, instead of, really making an issue. Because remember, Taurus still is ruled by Venus, so she still wants to keep the peace. She still doesn't want to deal with a bunch of mayhem, a bunch of chaos. She's still not going to really do too much to shake shit up if she doesn't have to, you feel me? Especially, and this is what's feeding her family. This is what's bringing her, this is what's making dollars and cents, you feel me? So she's not going to do that. She's going to stay the course. She's just going to get up and come to work. So even when LeLee didn't show up, she still came to work. She still came to shows. Even when Coko told her not to speak to her, she went on the whole tour with her and then speak to her the whole tour type. You know, they just got that fixed energy where she just there. Went up, down, round and round. She's just there. You feel me? But that's the issue, because you know what I mean. You can just be there, but if the ship is going down, you feel me? You standing up, you going down with the ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, do something, bro. I'ma just go down with the ship. And this is where that stubbornness begins to backfire on them, because you so busy standing your ground that you just watching everything go down around you. And even though it's still working for now, you feel me, you see it's going down, you see you ain't gonna be able to sustain, you need to do something, you feel me, you need not just stay stuck in your ways regardless of how you feel or what she told you or what she said or how she said it, you feel me. This is your group, you got to you know what I mean, you can't just let it go down, you got to take that initiative. Sometimes you got to reach out, sometimes you can't just stay stuck in your ways, you can't just stay stubborn. Sometimes you got to engage, you got to get in where you engage that mutability, engage some of that cardinal energy and put it out there, you feel me, engage some of that mutability and get in where you fit in. Sometimes you feel me, you can't stay fixed in your ways all the time. So you done took what she done said and she airs, so she just saying, she just feels the type of way right now, so she just off at the mouth, and you just took, she just said don't speak to her, and you done actually took it and solidified and brought earth to it and made it real. Now you stuck in that. I ain't speaking to you at all, I ain't gonna even look your way. No, you can't do that. This is a group, you feel me? She was fine, she said what she's just air, bro. But this is earth, you feel me? This the air sign talking to the earth sign. Alright, bet. I ain't gonna look at you, say nothing, don't do bet. Like, they challenge accepted, like, and that's how she held it. Now LeLee, she, you know what I mean, took it to hardest, and you can imagine that because she's a water sign, so she took it personal, you feel me? She took it to heart. She took it, you know what I mean? It was internal for her. It affected her internal world. Remember that moon, this affected her internal world. This affected her comfort zone. And once her comfort zone is shaken up, you feel me, it can go downhill quick. So she said she was suicidal after they broke up. So, but as far as how she handled it in the group, like I told you, she was the baby. So even though she had started the group, she was the baby. So you still have to keep that in mind. So she was the most emotionally invested. She was the most, I mean, family oriented. She was the one who really felt like we are sisters with voices. You see what I'm saying? Even look at them, we are sisters. You know. So once they broke up, that's like her family breaking up. And then she had already been through a divorce, so her family had already broken. She had already been through that. So you see what I'm saying? It hit her a little bit different. Remember that these are subjective people. So LeLee is subjective, so they're going to bring all of that into account, where somebody else, these will be separate and no, it's all in one. Like, you see what I'm saying? This is an emotional, so it's just too much. And then she, you know what I mean, did what she did or what have you. She went through her moment and she didn't do it, which is good. I'm glad she was able to come up out of that. But she had a very emotional reaction to it. She was very down. She was very depressed. You see what I'm saying? She took it very personal. You see what I'm saying? Versus just being business that didn't work out. You feel me? She took it very personal. And they didn't speak for a long time type of thing. And then even how she left, she was actually the first one to leave the group. You remember that cardinal energy? She's going to bust a move. She's going to, you know what I mean? She's going to put it into action. She wants to get something started. She's not going to just hold out like the fixed sign is going to stay the course and just show up every day. And whatever happens, every day happens. And no, she's going, okay, I heard you're going to leave. All right, bet. What's the point of me showing up? You going to leave. You see what I'm saying? And she's personalizing it. Remember, this is water. This is the moon. This is internal. So she's taking it personal. So, like, you trying to leave me. Like, you trying to leave us. You see what I'm saying? You trying to leave what we got. This ain't got nothing to do with business. Or you don't like, no, you trying to leave us. So she had more of an, like I said, she had more of an emotional response. So when she heard that Coko, she just heard that Coko was leaving. She hadn't talked to Coko or nothing like that. Remember, this isn't air, this is water. So she personalized it and internalized it. She didn't put it out there. You see what I'm saying? But she took action. Remember that cardinal? She took action. Even though she didn't put it out there, she didn't put it in the air, she did take an action based on how she was feeling when she internalized that. So once she heard that Coko was leaving, she took it in, internalized it for how she felt, and then she decided not to show up. You see what I'm saying? She started to put that into action. She got that started. She kicked off the breaking up of the group, even though that's not what she wanted. You see that see how that cardinal energy when it's in the water, it could get a little sticky. It can get a little sticky and all the time. But that water cardinal, it's just like, bruh, it can work against you sometimes. That's where you'll get that passive aggressive and all of that. It's that cardinal water. It's just like, because you initiate things in this real actual reality based on how you're feeling, and you haven't even discussed it with the girl. You see what I'm saying? You're just having an emotional reaction, and no one knows what's going on with you. You haven't even let the group know. I mean, it's like, bruh, you just... But it's like, I understand that you felt some type of way, but you should have brought it to the group. You got to put it in the air, you feel me? And then you'll hear this a lot with the water signs when I'm doing the group. That sometimes you just have to put it in the air, bro. Let it be known. Don't take a drastic action based on something you didn't internalize and you feeling some type of way about. Put your feelings out there first. See what's what. You know what I mean? See what you get back. And then this is the air sign, so Coko would have talked to him. You see what I'm saying? Even regardless of what she said and then how she was feeling, who she had around, she would have talked to them. This is the air sign. You see what I'm saying? She would have talked to him. Even if she had said, "Don't never talk to me," she would have talked to them. You see, if they really came to her on some real like this, and that, she would at least heard them out. I ain't saying that she would have, you know what I mean, took it no type of way or made an action based on how they felt, but she would have heard them out. They would have at least been able to have a conversation. And Taj being that fixed sign, she'll be there, you feel me? And they were already close, so Taj probably already knew how she was feeling, you see what I'm saying? She just wouldn't have wanted her to take that action. You know, put that into action. You feel me? Don't kick that off. Like she wouldn't have wanted her to do that, but that's that cardinal. Okay, you gonna do it now? I'm gonna do it first. You know that? No, you gonna leave? Nah, I'm leave first. And you'll see that a lot with cardinal signs where they'll see something coming and they'll try to like kick it off first, even though it's something they may not want. It's like, nah, you ain't gonna, nah. But overall, I would say their group had a good balance. You feel me? The group, they had one cardinal sign, one fixed sign, one mutable sign. So they had a pretty good balance as far as that goes. They had one earth sign, one water sign, one air sign. So they had a pretty good balance as far as the group goes. But we already discussed how they got into a couple of sticky situations. But we seen that they've always been able to come back together. They've been able to come back together to do the show. They've been able to come back to do multiple shows actually and perform and tour and everything like that. You know what I mean? They're always able to find some type of balance, you know what I mean? So that's good. That's always good to see. Because they each have their own domain kind of that they can, you know what I mean, be comfortable and secure in and provide for the group. So a lot of the times that can create a good chemistry in the group. So because everybody has their own thing that they could be recognized for, and not one person is trying to do. You still take over for the other person. There's too many emotions. There's too much air. There's too much. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, so they have a good balance as far as that goes. Even during the interviews and things, all the communication was evenly distributed. Everybody got to speak. Everybody, you know what I mean, pretty much contributed to the group. So like I said, they had a pretty good balance overall. You didn't really see one person trying to overtalk the other or anything like that. They all have their own element. They're all comfortable in their own element. They all kind of fall into that. So you didn't really see that battle as much as you do with other groups that have the same like the same modality or the same sign and stuff like that are trying to overlap each other, or egotistical signs and things like that. You don't really have that issue in this group so much. And they just had to learn over time, you know, how to deal with each other and stuff like that. And LeLee, like I said, LeLee is able to provide that emotional support for the group. That's why you saw her, like, I mean, when Coko was going through her divorce and things like that, she was more emotionally supportive. She was more supportive. She didn't really, I mean, fight back with her too much, or she just kind of let her have her way. I mean, try to cater to her, nurture her and stuff like that, and make sure she was okay, even though she was messing up the business. You see what I'm saying? She always provided that emotional support for the group. Then you had Taj. She always provided that actual support for the group, that actual work. Make sure work is getting done. Make sure we're showing up on time. Making sure that type of stuff. Earth sign stuff. Let's make sure we're going to rehearsals. Make sure we're hitting every step. Let's make sure we're going to the vocal list, stuff like that. Schedule, stuff like that. Now, Coko, she's the voice, you see what I'm saying? Now, they all can sing. Don't get it twisted. They all can sing. They're all musically inclined. But, I mean, that's what she's providing. That's what she contributes to the group. She's the voice, you feel me? She's going to show up. She's going to sing. She's going to give it her all. Now, you may have to deal with her attitude, and she may fly off at the mouth and say anything to you. But, you know, when she comes, she's going to blow it down straight up. She's going to blow it down straight up. Now, like I said, she even said in her ways that she had to learn to be kinder with her words and how to speak to people. And you have to remember she's dealing with two feminine signs, you see what I'm saying? So with her dealing with two feminine signs, that was very pivotal that she learned that, and that's probably how they're able to work together now, because she did learn that, because she's just stumping all over the feelings and not considering their feelings and stuff like that, because this is air, you feel me? This is masculine. This is the idea that she ain't thinking about how you feeling, but she had to learn that over time. And like I said, that's probably how they've been able to last now, even though she still has her ways at times. You know what I mean? They also learn how to deal with her, like, okay, sometimes she just talking, you know what I mean? They kind of learn not to take everything that she says too personally either, or, you know what I mean, Just sometimes she just talking, and sometimes you just gotta let her do what she gonna do and just leave her be. And that's cool too. So they had to learn that and not take it no type of way, like it is what it is. Not to have an emotional response to it every time, or react to it every time, or take it to heart every time, or really not speak to you when you say don't speak to you and stuff like that. Now Taj probably has had the hardest time with that because she's the fixed sign, so it's hard for her to change. So she does still sometimes go against Coko. Like I told you, she really wasn't on it when she was going through whatever she was going through. She like, girl, listen, we all going through something, girl. Now if you ain't gonna come talk to me and let me know what's up and let me comfort you or whatever we gonna do, then shut up. Like straight up, get out my face with that. Like show up when you need to show up. Ain't no excuses. We all done been through something. Like niggas, come to work, show up on time. Let's do it. Work, work, work. It is what it is. We still got work to do. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But she was still there for you. She was still willing to be there for her. Like I told you, she's that stability. She's that fixedness. She's always going to be there. But if you ain't willing to give, then girl, bye. Nobody got time for that. That ain't making me know. That ain't bringing nothing to my table, straight up. But when it's time to work, guess who's gonna be the first one there? Straight up, Taj gonna be the first one there, and she gonna be calling you and making sure you gonna be there. And she gonna be calling her and making sure she there, and that's why she in the group. You see what I'm saying? That's her role, straight up. So overall, it was good for them. I'm glad they were able to get back together because they got hit work, bro. They got hit work. Like, bro, how you going? No, they got hit work. Alright, I'm done. So that was your group dynamics video for SWV. Alright, I'm done. We got to get into, you know what I mean, Coko, Taj, and LeLee. We got to see how, you know what I mean, they were able to mix those different energies. You know what I mean, we got a little bit of earth, a little bit of air, and a little bit of water. No fire, but they were able to make it work anyway. They still were able to get it off the ground and make it shine, even though the fire wasn't around, you feel me? So, as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you kick back with some of my other group dynamics videos. Alright, I'm done. Yeah. Let me know what you think down below. Come on with it.